Ba, 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 ba. Oh, I know that's New Year's. Ba, 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 ba. But I feel like it's a new year for me because I finally was able to get on Hacked and come back to you guys, my favorite people, my Wednesday wine community, back on Facebook Live after a 2-week hiatus, thanks to our friends in strange lands who had hacked us. And by us, I mean my fan page. And it was quite the process. It was super annoying to get back online, and it is extremely frustrating. Thank you to everyone who reported the page and who did not leave me, and even thank you to the hackers for not putting anything that could get me in trouble with the authorities. I heard from a few of you who they put really awful information out there where they were posting really compromising videos, and a lot of you had to shut down your pages and start over. And thankfully, whoever those people were all into woodworking and all that kind of stuff. And some of my friends liked it more than my content. And it may have gotten me a few more viewers. So I am so happy to see you all. Look at this. Lynn and Nancy and Elaine and Kristen and Hector and Jeannie. Oh, Nan, it's so nice. The other Nancy. Oh, guys, thank you for joining me again. Thank you. I got myself some pretty flowers. I have so much to celebrate, so much to be thankful for, but I am incensed. And I know that people don't like it when friends like me who have always a jolly disposition are in a bad mood. I know you don't like it. My coworkers don't like it when I'm quiet and I'm in a bad mood. No one really does. They're like, why are you in a bad mood, Ana? You can't be in a bad mood. Pero es que puedo. Es que puedo. Because you know what? This week, I'm celebrating 25 years in journalism, which started all in the city of Chicago, where I'm coming to you live. And I cannot be more thankful about the career that I've had and the people that I've met that have helped me make my dreams come true. If there's something that I've learned in these 25 years is that you need that one person who believes in you, just one that gives you the chance. And as long as you're ready and you're willing to work hard, and that one person says yes, especially in this business that I'm in, which is so subjective, which if they don't like you with brown hair, they rather have the blonde girl. I've been lucky enough, but I've also worked really hard. And this is not the life that I expected to have, but it is the life that is perfect for me. Little did I know when at 14 years old, I decided that I was going to be a TV journalist, that this is where I was going to be, in Chicago at WGM Morning News for the last 16 years and the first 9 at Univision. So if my jefa, Berta Castañer, who gave me that first chance, is watching, I love you. I'm all grown up now. I have the gray hairs to show it. And along the way, everyone that has helped me create spaces to be myself and to showcase my talent to others. And I have to say, a lot of it is you pushing forward. I wanted someone to recognize me on the street and say, that's the next Katie Couric. Y nunca me pasó. You know, like when we grew up in the 80s and 90s, we always heard about these Russian models that they would see walking down the street and someone would say, you, let's go to New York. We're going to make you a model. I wanted that to happen to me. Al día de hoy, no one has offered me a job. I go look for the job and go look for the opportunity. Actually, I've had more people tell me, yeah, don't go for that. You're really not good for that. There's more people, there's better people than you. And because my husband has always told me, all you need is that one person to give you the chance. Today, I can say that I am very proud of what I have accomplished with the help of those very special people that have said, yeah, let's create a space for you, including WGM Morning News, because Lord knows they didn't know what to do with me. They weren't expecting what they hired. So that has me very happy. I should celebrate that. I should celebrate the fact that I'm turning 47 on Monday. Cheers to that. 47 years old. Yep. I moved here when I was turning 22. All by myself, 7 suitcases, didn't know a soul in Chicago. And you know, Puerto Ricans know everyone. But my mom and dad brought me here, dropped me off, and cried all the way home. And I cried the first week of work because I didn't know what I was doing. But here I am, and Chicago has embraced me. And that's why most of my career has been here. So I should be celebrating my birthday. But because I'm turning 47, I can tell you why I'm mad. Because this week, I've had a feeling of deja vu. Like, I don't know who said that. Yogi Berra, not Yogi Bear, Yogi Berra. I have a sense of deja vu all over again. This time last year, for my birthday, I had a COVID scare. A friend of my daughter's came to visit from a family that really took care of themselves, and they had been in contact with someone with COVID during a camping trip. So I got myself tested and bit all my nails, y me comí todos los pellejos right before my 46th birthday, hoping I didn't have COVID, and gave it to my children and my husband. That was negative. Can you believe that a year later, estoy en la misma situación? Look at my pellejos. I bit all not my nails this time, but I bit my pellejitos. I don't know what you guys call that. Because I didn't just have one COVID scare since Friday. I've had two. I worked with two people on Friday who tested positive for COVID. One was fully masked, our contact was limited, and the other one was not because of the nature of our business. Both were vaccinated, both have mild symptoms. I am so happy that they have mild symptoms. I am so happy that they were vaccinated. I am so mad that I have been on pins and needles, and that so many of you understand what I'm saying, for the last 4 days, hoping that I don't have it. Why are we here again? Why? I don't get it. I really don't. Again, if you follow me, you know that I'm a rule follower, and I've never lived in a dictatorship. I don't know what the beginnings of the dictatorship are. I don't know. And if you have lived in a dictatorship, I understand your fears. But I don't understand not following instructions and following the science. Why am I here again? I'm vaccinated. My husband vaccinated. My daughter's vaccinated. They're all great. And listen, guys, if I would have gotten COVID, I would have been fine. Hopefully, knock on wood. But my son is asthmatic. And I know a lot of my friends were like, a los niños no le pasa nada. The kids are going to be great. Tell that to the kids in Louisiana who got sick. I don't want to play with my 8-year-old's respiratory health. I don't know why that is so hard to understand. He can't be vaccinated yet. And it is driving me crazy. It is absolutely driving me crazy. Why? Because I am a person who may not be the brightest, but I have major common sense. Y me fastidia cuando no hay sentido común. Me fastidia. Me fastidia when people, because I don't think my followers are like this, but when people will put Botox in their face, will take anything that will guarantee them to lose weight, and a vaccine that was created based on science that has been around for years. The woman who came up with this vaccine so quickly had been researching it forever, and we don't believe it. And then in the end, we're in hospital beds begging for help. I don't understand it. Okay? I just don't. And it makes me incensed. And I am a journalist, and I don't think I'm taking sides, because science is factual. It's based on truth. And if, let's say, science says, wait a minute, you got to put your mask back on, it's because there was something that didn't work, because they're constantly testing the hypothesis and the theory. Es que me pone mal. De verdad. We should be over this. And if not, we should be on our road there. Come on. I don't understand it. I had to hear somebody tell me today, masks don't work because you touch your face with your fingers and we are masked with your fingers. What kind of logic is that? Oh, and so I've had to hear from friends of mine, the media's lying to us. ¿Con quién Do you think I work with the media? I can guarantee you at WGM Morning News, we don't have an agenda. We don't sit. I've never in 25 years of journalism sat at a newsroom where the news director says, what are we going to sell people today? What kind of slant are we going to give this story? No, guys, this is not fake. And we are in the same spot. I'm back to wearing a mask on the air. I'm back to not going out. I mean, we are all freaking out. Like my friend Wendy says, I can't feel good about sending Lula to school. I want to have fun going school shopping, but it feels so wrong. I'm so anxious. Of course you're anxious. Oh my God. I mean, seriously, yes, I am preaching. I cannot handle it. See? And I haven't had not even a cold. That has because of the mask. You know what I had to hear the other day? Someone tell me that my kids had gotten cold after returning to school just because, not because they had worn a mask and been home for a year. And all the viruses were out there and they were exposed again. O sea, when did you go to medical school? It is offensive to people like my guest today that you decide that you know more than them. And still, they join us con la paciencia de un pescador with the patience of a fisherman to remind you that there are vaccines and that we should be masking up and that they are not here to push an agenda and that they're not here to make Pfizer more money. O sea, and if you tell me that these are people who are uneducated, or you tell me that these are people that are members of cults, no, I've met these people in the city of Chicago. I met these people in the suburbs of Chicago. Forget about the south of this country. Come on. Seriously. Okay. Ahí voy. I told Dr. Mora, I'm sorry, I had a lot to get off my chest. What do you think, guys? Listen. This is another thing, Montserrat. Ever since I got COVID back in January, I get so paranoid when I have a sore throat. Even though my PCR is negative, so that's one thing. I buried the lead, like we say in journalism. Yeah, this is another thing, Patrick. This is not, I appreciate those doctors too, but this is not a political topic. This is not a political topic, but seriously, I lost my train of thought reading your messages, but yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, I've never stopped wearing them in stores. I did not either, but this is what I was going to tell you. When I got the results are negative, I got a quick test and then I got my PCR test, which, by the way, this is like the third or fourth time that I've gotten this test. Same place on Diversity here in Chicago. Packed. Not because people were sick, but because businesses are demanding COVID testing, negative COVID tests to go back to work and travel. People are traveling more and all that. Mira, here's the problem, Montserrat. I swear to God, I swear that today I feel sick. Dr. Mora asked me, how are you feeling yesterday? Like $1,000,000. Today I feel sick. But I spoke to my mother and my mother said, Nena, that's because of the stress. You're coming off of tense days. Why? Because of my son and because I hung out with my 5-month-old great nephew, mi sobrino nieto, el domingo, all day. Y me lo comía a besos. And then I find out that I've been exposed to COVID. And you feel so guilty and you feel so angry. Not at the people who got it because my friends were vaccinated, but at the fact that we're here still. That's where the anger lies, right? So right now, I feel like crap. Thank God I have wine and chocolate cake because I feel like I have cold sweats. I feel like a mess, and that the exam is wrong. Dr. Mora is going to calm me down. My therapist told me I needed to do things for myself, and he always suggests that I work out. And I said, don't you worry, voy a beber vino. That's what I'm going to do. And what I love, Take a sip. I had COVID last year this time and it wasn't awful and mine was mild. The hubs was pretty bad and scary. Don't want it again. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to figure out. If everyone who is poo-pooing it and saying we're all exaggerated and sheep and leftist liberals and all that crap, if they haven't had people die from COVID, because I have. My uncle Jose died of COVID, complicated, and he had other issues too. But our nanny, who we love, was a member of our family. Her entire family had COVID and was seriously sick. Okay. So at this point, I've had people die and I've had people survive it. And I don't want to play with the kids' health either. So yeah. And I take my vitamins, Nancy. Okay, Juanita, when I call Dr. Mora, who is actually an allergist in Chicago and a specialist in asthma, has had to jump on the bandwagon. She's also a spokesperson for the American Lung Association. She's had to jump in the bandwagon to help Latinos navigate this and help all of us, like Dr. Murphy from Northwestern has done for Chicago, because you know how we are. This is how we are, and she knows it because she's Mexican. I have doctors, pero son americanos, and they explain these things to me in English. So I need to call my Dr. Mora so that she explains it to me in Spanish y me eche la bendición y me diga que la Virgencita's protecting me. Dr. Mora takes care of my COVID issues, and Dr. Emeline Ramos in Orlando, Florida, but from Chicago, is my kid's other pediatrician. Why do Latinos do this? Do other cultures do this, Dr. Mora, that you get calls about orthopedic issues, neurological issues from your family?
Of course I do, Anna. And as we all do. But first of all, I want to congratulate you on 25 years of journalism and tell you that, you know, as a doctor, as a Latina, I truly appreciate all the work that you've been doing through COVID-19. I feel like you've been such a community partner for all of us doctors in getting the message out and really trying to dispel misinformation and really trying to save lives. And your heart is always so warm and kind and generous. And I want you to know that, you know, thanks to you, I feel like we've been able to save a lot of lives, Anna.
Well, I think the community owes you and a big thank you, because that's what you've done. And I know that when you became a doctor, you wanted to give back to your community, because when you were a child, you had to take your mom and be her translator in all her medical appointments, which were many, because your mom had a lot of medical issues. May she rest in peace. And you took her and you swore to yourself that you were going to be that voice for patients like your mother, and so that their kids didn't have to go through what you did.
I did, Anna, and I still live by it. And that's why I never lost my smile through this pandemic. I still keep hope. And my whole actual persona is to give hope to people in this pandemic and to help them navigate, and for them to have faith in science, faith in everything that we're doing, and faith in kindness and human, and, you know, just human love. And we can do the most by vaccinating ourselves and protecting these little ones that aren't eligible for vaccines, Anna.
Were you finding a lot of resistance to vaccination from your patients?
Initially, a lot of them were scared, Anna. Like they would tell me, you know, they were developed so fast, doctor. How do we know that in the long run, I'm not going to have bad side effects from the vaccines? Or what if I deal with a lot of allergic patients or very bad asthmatics. Dr. Mora, what if I react and I die from the vaccine? Because allergic reactions were at the beginning. And then I would tell them, no, you know, let's talk through your allergies. This is what the CDC is telling us. This is the green light. Let's have you take your allergy medications the day before the vaccine, day of the vaccine, day after. And I said, and call me. And I gave a lot of them the vaccine here as well in clinic and walked them through. I think that really helped, Anna.
Hmm. I think so too. I think the fact that you listened to them too and were able to come back with information that they understood and that we all understood was important because honestly, I had the same questions that everyone had when it was first developed. And you were one of the ones that said, this is not haste, this is not an experiment on people. This is medicine and research that has been going on for a very long time. Corona is not a strange virus. There's a lot of viruses that fall under that umbrella, right?
Under that family of viruses. Absolutely. This just happens to be a very lethal one.
A very unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But you were able to put a lot of people back to work and take care of them and nurse them back to health. What is your concern? Why? ¿Por qué estamos en esta sanganada de nuevo, Juanita? Why are we here again?
Because this virus, Ana, is really, really smart. So the less people vaccinate, the more it's able to propagate through unvaccinated individuals and mutate. Because it tries to escape the vaccines that we already have. It tries to mutate so that it can infect more people. And this is what the Delta variant has been doing. And our solution is, you're right, to stop politicizing vaccines and say, this is science. It's about protecting our loved ones, our most vulnerable ones, our kids as well, too. It's about getting vaccinated so we stop this virus. It's time that we all unite against this virus.
Okay. What are we thinking about kids going back to school? What is there? Do you have a concern?
Of course. This is the talk I have with my own family members, with my patients, with everyone I meet. And I tell them, look at your kids and look at how excited. I know you have little ones too, and your teenager. They're excited to see their friends. They're excited to learn back in a classroom. And we don't want to take that excitement away from these kids. We remember those days, those learning days, those actual socialization days. It's been a lot on their mental health to be 1 year, just virtual learning, etc. So we have to teach them to be safe, but continue to be excited about learning. So that way you give them the tools to protect themselves. And you teach the teachers, you teach the communities. And I've been doing a lot of town halls with schools as well, Anna. So that way we teach the teachers what to look out for, keeping the social distancing. And I developed a little care package that I showed my sisters, I showed everyone. So that way the kids can carry it in their school bag. Okay. And it includes one extra mask. So if they sneeze in them, so if they actually drop them on it, so if they rip anything, yes, they have extra masks with them. And you tell them to bring Clorox wipes or any disinfecting wipes in a little Ziploc bag too, so that every morning routine becomes you clean your desk and you clean your chair before you sit down. Oh, then you don't want them sharing any Crayolas or pencils or anything else because little hands travel everywhere. Hand sanitizer in there as well too, so that way they hand sanitize throughout the day. And you teach them, especially the little ones, how to keep distance from their little friends. So they're not right onto each other either. And you practice with them actually wearing the mask correctly. And most little kids are even better than adults. They're amazing at wearing the masks.
Yeah. You know what? It's interesting because my 8-year-old doesn't mind it at all. Doesn't complain about it, forgets to take it off after soccer. I mean, at camp at soccer, they have it when they're together, sitting together. When they're playing outside, they're fine. But at school, when he would come out of school, he was going 3 times a week. I would be like, Alex, take your mask off. We're on our way home. Oh, okay. I think she's 16. The 13-year-old would be a little more annoyed, but she was more afraid. Alex just wanted to go back to see his friends. My 13-year-old was legitimately worried. And I think, Dr. Mora, that's another thing we have to talk about our kids, back to socializing, because it's not 15 kids in a room anymore. We're going back to the same amount of kids that, especially if you're in public school, tend to be 28 to 31 kids. And I know that Amelia is not the only one worrying, like, well, what do I do? All my friends were traveling this summer. What do I do?
Exactly. So you teach them to mask up, to keep a little distance as they're talking. They can keep their mask on and just, they can still socialize, but we're not going to be unless, they're fully vaccinated, everything else. A lot of schools are sitting them outside, Anna, where they can actually take their mask off while they're eating and so forth, and keep a little distance in between them as well too. The little ones are keeping usually at their seats to eat as well too, cleaning their desk, teaching them how to keep their distance. And the main one other thing is, I tell kids and I tell parents, don't go to school sick either. We don't want any kid going to school sick, because Delta variant especially disguises a lot as just a common cold, Anna. Like a runny nose, nasal congestion, and maybe a little fever and headache are the top actual symptoms of COVID-19 Delta variant. So this can be any cold, right? And we're about to enter respiratory season.
Listen,
So like
I
you said,
heard so many friends of mine bitch about their kids having to get COVID tests. If you don't want your kid to have to get a COVID test, don't send them sick to school. Wait the 3 days or the 72 hours that they ask you not to send them. I know it's hard. I don't want my kids at home. I have to work. My husband has to work. I don't have anyone to take care of them. My family doesn't live close by. So yes, I lose a day of work, but I don't know if we've learned finally. And don't go to work sick either. And I think employers have to understand that now too, and make the arrangements so that my colleagues don't have to decide, do I take a comp day? But that's another topic. But I've heard, if you don't want your kid to need to get their noses swabbed and scream and cry, and then make sure that they put a mask on, that they clean their hands, and that they don't go to school sick. Perdón. Dr. Mora's like, oh my God, she's out of control.
No, I love it. I love it, Anna. Are you kidding? It's good. It's real. This is what mommies are asking, and they're sitting there. You're right. Part of them excited, part of them scared. It's just so many feelings all at once. One thing that I'm recommending for teenagers, Anna, like yours, she's 13, is doing a lot of the socializing, because, they get assignments, like group assignments or everything else, doing virtually. So that way they do it in small groups as well too, so they can actually go ahead and get the socialization, but without the physical contact as well.
Okay, that's a great idea also for university kids too. Okay, so you guys have a lot of questions that I'm going to get to, and I love them too. I like what he's bringing up, Pat. Teach them how to optimize their immune system. Should we have them in a multivitamin? Should I be adding something else?
Sure. So my top actual recommendations, a multivitamin in all kids, probiotics, because all our guts need the good bacteria to help fight all this bad bacteria as well too, and viruses. Zinc oxide, because zinc oxide has been shown to really help the reduction of viral load, and vitamin D, because we do not get enough sunlight here in Chicago. Vitamin D has been proven in the latest studies, especially with COVID-19. Low vitamin D was a risk factor for complications for COVID-19, including intensive care unit stay. So having optimal vitamin D levels is going to be super important.
I like this. I like what Montserrat is saying. Tell your professors when you're not comfortable with group assignments. Yeah, speak out. Speak up for yourselves, because your parents are not going to be able to be there. And sometimes they don't want to hear from us because, we can be annoying because we're not in the classroom seeing what's going on. Excuse me. Does the multivitamin include any of these other zinc probiotics that you're talking about, or do I have to, and vitamin D?
So the vitamin D is usually supplemental to it, because the amount of vitamin D in a multivitamin is too little, Anna.
Okay.
So for adults, it's usually 5,000 international units daily, especially as we're heading into fall and winter. And then for kids, little kids, 1,000 international units. For middle school kids, 2,000 international units. For like the teenagers, 4,000 international units.
Oh my God, I'm not drinking enough vitamin D. I have. Okay. This is great. And I know that they had been saying it before. It's funny that you're not saying vitamin C.
Oh yeah. Well, because vitamin C is in a lot of the multivitamins already. So that's good. And people usually push the orange juice and the oranges and stuff too.
Okay. So do 10-year-olds kids have to get the vaccine?
So once they're eligible for it, yes. We hope to have the vaccine for kids from 5 years of age to 11 years of age by end of September, beginning of October. Hopefully, they will get emergency use authorization by the FDA.
Perfect. I know that this is not about kids, but Eileen, and I like this question because I just hung up with my mom who's in her 80s, and she was like, I want to get that booster shot. Let me just tell you about my family. We'll get anything a doctor tells us to get. We are suckers for a good doctor. We are like the best patients. It's true that if you tell us in Spanish, we'll believe you more. But if you tell me that I need a booster, I am 70% of Puerto Ricans are vaccinated on the island. Now you tell me. We don't like to follow instructions. So tell me a little bit about the booster. I know that on Friday we said that they have been approved for people with immunocompromised systems,
Immune systems.
immune systems, and people maybe in chemo and so on, going through those kinds of treatments, but the elderly, so on. Tell me about that.
Sure. So, and actually, President Biden made an announcement today, Anna, that as of September 20th, everyone will be eligible for a booster 8 months after their second dose.
Okay.
So, and the reason for it is when they looked at the studies for Pfizer and Moderna, so getting that booster 8 months after the second dose almost tripled the antibody level. So your amount of protection, especially that's going to be important as we head into winter and the Delta variant is going hard. So that way it helps to decrease mortality, hospitalization, emergency department visits, and so forth. So on Friday, you're right, it already got approval for people with immune deficiencies and also chronic illnesses. So diabetics who are long-term diabetics, people on chemo, radiation, heart disease patients, transplant patients as well too are now eligible. Because if we think about it, they didn't really make as much protection as a normal person would. In the studies for Pfizer, Moderna, or even Johnson and Johnson, people with immune deficiencies or with suppressed immune systems were not allowed in the studies. So we know for a fact.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay, Berta's asking, is a booster shot recommended for heart patients over 65?
Absolutely. Now,
Okay.
they can get it now.
All right. Someone that has pulmonary problems, should they get the vaccine?
Yes, the booster or the vaccine itself.
I don't know. If he can tell me, that would be awesome. If you can.
Yes to both, though.
Yes to both.
Yes.
Entonces, ¿para qué te pones tan específica?
Yes to both.
The response was yes to both. One worry that we had, because it's been a week, it's more a tequila week than a wine week. You were right. My parents were exposed to COVID last week from a vaccinated person. They were almost sure they didn't have it. They got their exam done on Friday. Saturday, my mom came back negative. My dad came back positive for some respiratory virus. By Monday, he was negative for both, knock on wood. Juanita, el mundo se me vino abajo. When they said they had been exposed, they are both vaccinated, but I freaked out. I saw all the bad things, right? All the bad things. The fact that they were, and my mom says that on the news, they keep telling her that if you get it after 70, you will die. But that's because my mom and I are really exaggerated like that. Is the vaccine effective enough so that I don't have to freak out when my viejitos get sick again or get exposed again, or God forbid, get COVID?
No, they are effective. So all three vaccines definitely have been shown to decrease hospitalizations and mortality as well too. When we look at all the people hospitalized, even those with breakthrough cases, it is only 2% of people who are vaccinated that end up in intensive care unit, Anna, or any of that. So that's a good thing.
I want to ask you a personal question. What has disappointed you from this whole thing?
Well, I think my heart breaks a little when, we tell people now that vaccinating, to let go of fears, to let go of any actual conspiracy theories or anything impeding them from getting vaccinated, especially as we're heading into winter and we're seeing kids hospitalized. Honestly, as soon as the kids started getting hospitalized, everyone hurts. Don't get me wrong. But kids hurt on a different level. They really do. Because I can't imagine, and I had a patient who is probably listening to this podcast now with this Facebook Live with you, whose little one was intubated, and he was early last March and developed the myeloinflammatory actual syndrome from COVID-19. And she herself says she never wishes this upon any other mother.
No. No. And that's what's scaring us, that we are listening to these stories come out of the southern states that kids are getting this more than we heard it before. Why is that? Because the Delta variant is affecting kids in a different way than the original COVID-19?
Yeah, so what we're seeing is it's more aggressive in kids. And because these states, Anna, have such a low vaccination rate,
Right.
that's what actually prompted more hospitalizations and more propagation of this virus. Here in Chicago, we're hopefully standing on better feet, but we still want to increase, especially in Latino and African American communities, those vaccination rates. Because if this virus again gets really hard, these communities again that suffered it 1 year ago are going to be again the hard hit communities of this season.
Exactly. And I had a woman, an African American woman, that I was at the orthodontist, and she said, "You know what happens? They tell you that they're going to need a booster, and they're going to keep putting vaccines on you, and it's just I'm not going to get poked again." Dr. Mora, I didn't know what to say because I was disappointed. I was sad. She is in a health field and I love her. She's a smart, sharp woman. And I'm like, I know that our communities have bad history with testing and so on, but it's been years. And, you know, we have put enough leaders and popular faces on saying you're going to be, I just don't know how to break through that.
Right. So one way I've done it, Anna, is to actually show them in lab results. Like, these are your antibody levels. For example, I got vaccinated in December and January. December 31st and January 22nd were my Pfizer vaccines. And I've been slowly watching my antibody levels dwindle down. So my highest level was 27.64 for antibody levels. Now I'm at a level, I just checked this Saturday, at 5.5. So that tells people, look, you know, levels decline, your protection's going down. I'm due for a booster. Absolutely. So September 20th, am I going to be in line? Absolutely, we'll be in line.
I love when you go all scientist on me. I really do. I really do. I want to answer this because this person has posted it a few times. They have lung issues, have had COVID 3 times. They're parents of a 10-year-old and a 2-month-old baby. Should this person get the vaccine?
Absolutely, especially having had COVID, they need the protection, and it's going to help protect their lungs from a fourth COVID actual episode or anything else. So they should definitely do it, especially to protect that little 10-year-old and 2-month-old as well.
How do you check for antibodies? Are you drawing your blood every week, you weirdo?
No, I do it every 2 to 3 months.
Oh, come on.
It's called, so we have the COVID antibody test that just tells you, have you had COVID or not, right? So that tells you one. And then you have the spike protein antibody, because remember, these vaccines create spike protein antibodies. So if the coronavirus little spikes try to come into your body, you have spike protein antibody that will not let them in. That's the whole mechanism of it. So we measure it in our blood, comes back within a day. So then you know what your levels are. And so, yes, I've been checking my staff, some of my patients as well, too.
I'm not going anywhere near you. Tú eres un peligro como una aguja. You're going to be like,
and especially people who are immunosuppressed or bad asthmatics. Like, I have one patient who is a bad asthmatic and only has one lung. And I monitored his antibody levels to make sure he had a good response, because I knew he was going to be high risk if he got COVID-19.
All right. Before we say goodbye, what do you want to get out there right now?
I say, please get vaccinated. Rise up and backs up. Únete y vacúnate. Only if we come together and all get vaccinated will we eradicate this pandemic. We cannot lose any more kids, any more adults, any more of our loved ones. I don't want any of us, any of our families, to be missing someone this Thanksgiving or Christmas. You get to make the difference, and you get to save lives. And it's simple act of love.
I'm so very proud of you. I'm so happy that our paths crossed. I'm so happy that our community can count on you, that all of Chicago, and your generosity of spirit, of knowledge, is amazing, and it's also comforting, and I appreciate it, y te lo agradezco todos los días por eso, y te agradezco que me contestes los textos de puertorriqueña desesperada.
I
Dr.
know.
Mora,
My pleasure, Ana. My pleasure.
much
my
health
honor.
to you, much tequila and wine in moderation, like my father would say, and hopefully we can have it live soon in person.
Absolutely. Blessings to everyone. Thank you, Ana, for having me and for helping spread the knowledge as well, too, and helping save lives.
Absolutely. Thank you, Juanita. Have a good night. So there you have it. She believes in the power of prayer and the power of medicine, which is why I always invite her, because she brings our two worlds together very seamlessly. If you have any questions, reach out to her. She's on Instagram as, I think it's Chicago Allergist Center, and you'll see her picture there. And I love when people live their mission and their passion. I see it in so many of my coworkers too. Like Dean Richards, our entertainment guy, loves to tell people how great movies were. We don't get tired of telling you. When you're passionate about what you do, you hold on to it, and you don't care to share the knowledge. So yes, it's a big week in my house. I'm glad, knock on wood, that everything came back negative so that I can celebrate my birthday and my 25 years in journalism. I don't know if my original boss, Berta Castañer, heard me, but you were that one person who took a chance on me, and I will be forever grateful to you and Carlos, may he rest in peace, for believing in me, and for when I was alone here in Chicago, pasando frío and getting the flu. You never let go of my hand, and you told me you're here with a purpose, and you go get it. So thank you. Thank you so much to you, and of course, to my parents and my family, and all of you who've embraced me and who believe in me and who joined me every Wednesday. And here's to many more together. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Stay safe, mask up, and vaccinate. Don't make me go all Puerto Rican on your butts again, porque me pongo bien molesta. Ya vieron. Now you know what my kids and my husband see when I'm not all jolly. And sometimes my coworkers. Have a good night, everyone. Dios me lo bendiga.